All right, so we got UNC and NC State here. It looks like UNC's at NC State.
Maybe, I'm not
It's
sure.
it's pretty fitting for today's episode.
Make sure this is working. Let's watch. Let's turn the volume.
Okay. Looks like a little top spin line drive hit pretty well into the old slide and catch by UNC's left fielder.
Was it left field?
Yeah, it was pull side. It was righty. Do you need to watch it again?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it again.
Certainly wasn't the shortstop.
But definitely not the shortstop.
That's left field.
I'm thinking, cameraman, I need a better angle on this one.
You're an idiot.
Left field seems probably right. That's a pretty smooth catch.
So yeah, it was. So what's coach thinking here?
Coach is probably thinking, what's coach thinking?
I'll tell you
right
what I'm
off the
thinking.
bat. All right, yeah, you go.
Like, praying that ball doesn't go to the wall.
Yeah, she makes a sliding catch. We're assuming left fielder here. She misses. Center fielder, by all means, should be there to back up. But she misses.
Yeah. Center fielder should be there to back up, but that ball
not
was
immediately.
Hit hard.
Yeah.
No, like because that video was not. That was not a very long video, and that ball got from the infield to the outfield very quickly. So it was tattooed. She just didn't get very good extension through the ball and hit it with topspin. And that's why she called a sinking line drive in left field. But if she misses that ball, it's game over. Like that girl's gonna be on third base.
Yeah, even with it being hit to left field.
Yeah, minimum she's gonna be on third base.
Yeah, off the bat, I'm thinking one, right off the bat, how did we just give up? The meaty pitch. That was a meaty pitch. Nice high ball. Nice. Not good job on the pitching. Good job on the hitter to recognize the mistake there. But right off the bat, my reaction, here you go, here it is. Right off the bat, just immediate, oh my God. Then
yeah.
Center field catches it. I'm thinking my pitcher better turn around and thank her very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Quicker than the ball got out there.
You got to turn around, tip your cap. Thank you. Because you just threw one right down Broadway and said, Here you go. See what you can do with it. Yeah, no, she throws that ball and I see that girl start swinging and I'm like, oh my goodness. And
just as
she
easily could have been a bomb.
Yeah, she tattoos it in left field and I'm like, please catch it, or please just keep it in front. At a minimum, just keep it in front. And then after I see like her catch it, where was that? Just to make sure that she missed the spot and it wasn't like she threw it where we called it. And
then we're not calling that bitch ever again.
Right. So, yeah, as a pitching coach, I'm definitely a little bit frustrated with that pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was not executed very well. But nevertheless, an outstanding slide and catch by UNC's left fielder right there.
Yeah, super smooth, too.
Yeah, a lot of swag in that catch. A lot of swag.
Right.
Hi, welcome back to Yellaball. I'm one of your hosts, Robbie.
I'm the other host, Ashley.
Ashley over there. Trying to hold down a burp, I guess. I don't know. Today, we're getting into the Atlantic Coast Conference, the old ACC, taking a deep dive into the ACC. Let's start out with the regular season, how that finished up.
Let's see. Regular season, I got FSU at the top.
Oh, which makes sense as they were the runners-up of the World Series.
Right.
We go on, and the number 2 was Duke.
Blue Devils.
Followed by Clemson. Not really a surprise there last year. Those are the top 3 programs in the ACC. You maybe a little bit of surprise to see Clemson in that 3 spot, but like for those 3 teams to be in the top 3, no surprise. As far as the tournament goes, last year's tournament, again, not super surprising. You end up with a Florida State Duke finals or championship, and Florida State squeezes one out on Duke to take the crown. So yeah, nothing super surprising there.
Yeah, I'd say the most surprising part, and it's still, again, not surprising. At the beginning of the season, I'm putting Clemson before Duke, but could have gone either way. So, again, not super surprising.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and touch on the top 3 ACC teams here. We'll start out with Florida State. So last year, they batted .301, which is that's pretty good for a team batting average, right? Like, I mean, there are other teams, Oklahoma, who hit a little bit higher than 300 as a team. But as a team to hit 300, that's solid. That's really good. You're having a good offensive year if you're hitting 300 as a team.
Right.
They put up 63 home runs, right? That's, again, those are pretty good power numbers, right? Scoring 409 times, that's a lot of runs.
Not many teams go above that.
Yeah, no, like 409 runs. Like that's you're scoring a bunch of runs just about every game.
Yeah. Let's see, they
played
60-something games.
Yeah.
Again, math doesn't work with my brain.
Yeah, I mean, like an idiot, I didn't put their record on here.
Yeah, they're scoring
in our show notes.
Well, they went 58-11 on the season.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's 69 games, averaging out. Let's see, I did 400. So 409 divided by 69 is 5.93 runs. So almost 6 runs a game.
Yeah, that's really good. If you're a pitcher and your offense is scoring 6 runs a game, like you feel pretty confident that you can get the job done.
Right.
Come out with a win. They're getting on base almost 40% of the time, which is, again, that's really impressive. Them finishing second in the country, again, is no surprise given these stats. Like, they're just a really good ball club. They walked 249 times, which is one of the most, in doing research in this conference and other conferences, 249 walks as a team. Like, that's one of the top number of walks that I've seen. I think I don't know. I know Oklahoma had more walks than that.
Yeah, they did.
But I don't know if there were many, if any other teams that had more than 249 walks as a team. And if we just kind of skip over the next stat there and we go to the strikeouts, they only struck out 237 times, which is still, that's a lot of strikeouts. given where the game is at, that kind of seems to be the trend where teams are more about swinging for the fences than they are about hitting for high averages. Even though there are still plenty of teams, plenty of girls who are hitting for high averages and putting up power numbers. But they have a decent strike to walkout ratio. They're walking more times than they're striking out, which is not the case for everybody else.
Right.
I know Oklahoma's is a higher walk to strikeout. But a lot of the teams that I looked at in doing all of our research, like a lot of teams are striking out way more times than they're walking. Way more.
Which, I mean, Florida State putting up so many walks is a good contributor to their on-base percentage. Obviously. I mean, you can't just rely on just hitting. Right.
Yeah, and their runs scored. And you look at their stolen bases, right? As a team, they stole 134 bases. So when you're talking about a team that gets on base a lot, that hits for a high average, that puts up pretty decent power numbers, but isn't just like hitting home runs left and right like, say, Oklahoma is, they're putting themselves in position to score runs once they get on base by stealing bags. And you got to give a lot of credit to Devin Flaherty for that one.
Yeah, swiped almost 30 bases.
She swiped 31 bags.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, 31 bags last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go on the other side of the ball. They put up a fielding percentage of 969 with 59 errors on the year. That's not like super impressive. But when you have a pitching staff that's as dominant as Florida State's, to say that you can be a little lax on the defensive side of the ball and making plays, but your defensive mistakes and your defensive blunders, they get made up for in the circle.
Oh, absolutely. Florida State's pitching staff is top tier, and they finished with what, like a 1.65 ERA maybe?
Yeah.
As a whole staff, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
Because you got some girls that always have a high ERA because they get low innings, and they might have given up, some people end up with a 10 ERA. Then you got everybody else pulling it down.
Yeah, yeah. But Florida State didn't have that. As a staff, to finish under a 2 is super impressive. They finished with a 1.65 ERA on the year. Now, when I was looking at runs, I thought it was more indicative of how the pitching and the defense work together to look at the total runs scored and not just the earned runs. So Florida State's defense and pitching combined only gave up 149 runs last year.
And they're scoring 409.
Yeah. They're outscoring their opponents by almost 300 runs.
And that's why they finished where they finished.
Right.
Makes sense.
And opponents' batting average was only 194. You imagine being anybody in the ACC, really, or just anybody that's about to play Florida State, and you're just like, well, we're not going to hit a lot this weekend, ladies.
Just going into it, just know that we're shooting for 2 out of 10 times.
Yeah, like hopefully we can scrape a run or two across. Like,
it's got to be a little deflating.
Yeah, it's got to be. But so their pitching staff is led by Catherine Sandercock, who was their ace last year. She went 28-4 with a 1.12 ERA through 193 innings. unfortunately, she's gone.
Yeah, I think that's their obvious key loss on this one.
Yeah, like you can't replace a Catherine Sandercock. Now they also lose Mac Leonard, who but was a two-way player. She pitched and she played a position. And she was fairly productive at the plate. Not their most productive hitter by any means. Not their workhorse in the circle either. But she pitched in really big games in the World Series, in supers, in regionals. Like she was a key piece to their team, just like Catherine Sandercock was. But obviously, Catherine Sandercock was, I'd say, much more valuable. Yeah, they lost 3 pitchers.
Yeah.
Last year, but Catherine Sandercock being the main one. But some players to watch for this year. Devin Flaherty's still there. We mentioned her earlier. She stole 31 bags last year. She batted .317, had 26 RBIs, and scored 43 times. She had an on-base percentage of .433. Who do you got? Who are some players you got to watch for Florida State this year?
That's the first one I had was old infielder for them.
Devin Flaherty is their starting second baseman, and I wholeheartedly believe she will still be at second base this year.
Yeah, for sure. She also defensively had the team lead with 10 double plays turned. So
yeah,
I don't know if you can take that out of the infield.
No, definitely not. You can't take her out of the lineup either.
No, can't take her off the bases. So, I mean, looks like she's going to be playing second base.
Yeah.
Or at least somewhere. I've also got Kaylee Mudge as a top returner, outfielder for him. Really produced last year. She started all 60-something games that she played in. 65 games, I think, is what she played in. 341 batting average, 403 on-base percentage. She led the team with hits and runs, 71 hits, 47 runs scored. And then also added in, and what's crazy here is she added in 17 doubles. 17 doubles. That wasn't even the team leading stat for doubles.
Yeah.
So that's what's also crazy. 3 triples, 5 homers. And I think defensively she's got to stay out there for sure. 76 chances. Yeah. Outfielders get less chances. 76 chances. She doesn't make a single error.
1,000 on the year.
1,000 on the year.
Yeah, I mean, when you get that kind of offensive production, and she's a guarantee, a sure glove out there for you, she's definitely going to be one to watch moving forward. I got 2 more on my list that I want to talk about. Their starting center fielder, Johnny Kerr. Do you have her on there?
Yep. I got Johnny Kerr. I got one more.
I got one more. I have a couple more, but I have one I want to talk about. But Johnny Kerr, their starting center fielder, she bats .356 last year. She puts up 8 home runs as well with 40 RBI, 30 runs scored. She swipes 14 bags. It has a .389 on base percentage. .389 on base percentage. That's not super great, but it's not bad by any means. I mean, she's a sure glove in center field. She's going to cover a lot of ground. You can't replace her out in the outfield. And with the offensive production she puts up, she's going to be a staple in their lineup.
Yeah, I mean, she was freshman last year, right? Sophomore?
Yeah, she's a young one. I think she's a sophomore this year.
Yeah, so I think if she goes, because last year she had her walk to strikeout ratio wasn't quite the best. It was less walks, more strikeouts. You flip that around, your on base percentage shoots up, and then it's an absolute threat to have her have to pitch against her. You know?
Yeah, I mean you're talking. I mean, I'm hesitant to make the comparison, but if she grows like she does and she continues to trend upwards in her development and her ability, her pitch recognition, her hand-eye coordination, her strength, all that stuff. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to look up and see Johnny Kerr being compared to Kiki Malloy.
Yeah. I wouldn't be
Anyway,
surprised. Could happen.
who's next on your list?
I'm feeling like you probably didn't pick her, but you might have. But I've gone with the hometown Murfreesboro Blackman High School Kaylee Harding utility player.
I got her on my
You
list.
picked her.
She was not highlighted for me, but she is on my list because she dropped 10 bombs last year. She drove in 48 and scored 46 times. Again, like she's a huge production piece for them. She bounced around between third base and right field. Like,
And if you're
they're gonna.
if you're wondering where the team lead in doubles, not 17. If you're wondering where it's at 22 doubles.
That's when you're doing some damage. You hitting 22 doubles and 10 home runs.
Power.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah, Kaylee Harding was on my list. I have, like I said, I have a couple other ones on my list too, but I got Michaela Edenfield, their catcher. She caught the majority of the innings last year. She split a little bit of time with Katie Dack, who came in, and Katie Dack put up 11 home runs last year. Batting average wasn't great, but 11 home runs. And her on base percentage, Katie Dack's on base percentage was 607. Granted, she didn't get near as bats as Michaela Edenfield did, but like she split time behind the plate and as a designated player. So, but Michaela Edenfield, like, she's their catcher and she commanded their pitching staff. She's going to do it again this year. Michaela Edenfield put up 13 home runs last year. She had 56 RBIs. Again, and her batting average wasn't the best because her job was to drive in runs. I think she was most of the year like 5-6 hole, maybe 4 hole every once in a while. And she's just like Lonnie Alameda's like, hey, drive in runs. Because she's a huge kid. She's what, 6'1"? 6'6'1". Yeah, she's huge. So her job is to drive in runs, and she did that. So, and again, commanded the pitching staff. And we got McKenna Reed, who's returning in the circle. She was 13-0 last year. She had a .97 ERA through 79 and a third innings and 91 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's
guess what the opponent's batting average was?
130.
It's close. 141.
God.
So, yeah, those are returners that I'm looking at. Do you have other ones that you want to mention, or we want to move on?
No, you hit all. We had all the same ones. I had Michaela on my list as well. So
yeah, so they didn't really hit the transfer portal too hard. They got one transfer, Annie Potter. She transferred from Mercer. I mean, I don't really see her getting a whole lot of playing time. She's a junior infielder, and she's having to battle out, 5 of the people that we just mentioned.
Right.
And she's at Mercer career 267 hitter, a 918 fielder. Like, I just don't see her getting very much playing time, if any playing time at all. So for Florida State's freshmen, they have a pretty decent recruiting class coming in. They got 6 girls coming in, but 2 specifically that I want to talk about. We got Ashton Danley, who's from Tennessee. Ashley, what do you got on Ashton Danley here?
Yeah, I think she's a good one, a good freshman to look out for coming in on a pitching staff that is losing their rock and Catherine Sandercock. And she's pitcher outfield, probably going to be turned into a PO if I can imagine most people do when they get to college. Number 2 ranked player by extra innings, rightfully so. in her high school career, I believe, high school career, 59 appearances. Pitching wise, finishes with a .59 ERA, 321.2 innings pitched. Pretty solid in those two numbers. Even more impressive to me, though, is her walk to strikeout ratio. Has 94 walks. Again, this is her career.
As a
466 strikeouts as a
as a
pitcher.
pitch. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
in that allows just one home run. No doubles, no triples, just one home run, extra base hit.
yeah, that's wild. And through 3 years, she only gave up 77 runs. I wouldn't be so quick to put her in as a PO because she, for 3 consecutive years, hit almost 700. So, and I, granted, I understand that in high school, the talent is not the same as it's going to be in a major D1 program. Like I get it, but I mean, you not to throw shade at any of the other girls that are incoming, but they're position players and they didn't hit as well as she did as far as their numbers go. Right. So I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt. I wouldn't be so quick to just throw her in as a PO though.
No, I wouldn't count her out. I do think batting almost 700 is worthy of at least letting her get a little glimpse, a couple of at bats
Oh,
just to test it out.
I think thus far she's probably gotten her fair share of at bats throughout the fall.
Yeah.
But as you said earlier, like I would expect to see her get some time in the circle for sure with just two pitchers returning, and McKenna Reed and Allison Royalty. McKenna Reed's going to be their rock this year, I would imagine, unless Miss Danley or one of their other pitcher, one of their other freshmen, Mimi Gooden. If one of them really stands out, I would fully expect McKenna Reed to be their workhorse moving forward. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Danley in the circle multiple times this year. Um, but another one that I have on my list is, I think you say her name, Jasani Beecham. Um, she she's another impressive one to look at. She started playing varsity softball in sixth grade. Sixth grade.
What state is that from where sixth graders get to play varsity? That's what I want to know.
So apparently she started playing softball in high school in Alabama. Um, and let me see. Yeah, I think she started in Alabama her sixth grade year, went to her sophomore year. um, and she, let's see, in 2019, as an eighth grader, she was a USA All American. And then in 2020, I believe with one of her travel ball teams, she was named to the Junior Olympic Cup All Tournament team. And that was as a freshman. And then as a sophomore, still in Alabama, she hit 19 home runs, which was the third most in the state of Alabama. I mean, if you're hitting 10 home runs in high school in one season, like that's actually like pretty impressive. Not very many people do that.
Right.
But to hit almost 20, that's wild. That's a lot of home runs for a high school kid, especially as a sophomore. Um, and she was that same year she was named the 3A Alabama All State Hitter of the Year. Then the next year, I I believe, is when she moved to Florida. Uh, but she batted 507, hit 12 bombs that year, and then in 2023, numbers dropped a little bit. She hit 394 with 9 home runs, but like this is a kid that has huge power potential. Like she's dropping almost 2 handfuls, if not more, home runs every single year that she's played varsity ball, which is that's insane. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised. They have her listed as just an infielder, and I looked up her stats. It seemed like she played predominantly like first, third. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her get some. I think predominantly third base, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her get some PT at third base. Maybe some DP at bats, some pinch hits. I wouldn't necessarily expect her to be in the starting lineup from day one, but I mean, with that kind of power potential, you get your little lefty slapper come up with bases loaded. Probably a good time to pinch hit, put Ms. Beecham in, see if you can drop a bomb, cash in all 4 runs there.
Yeah, I wouldn't with 19 home runs in one season, high school wise, one season as a team is pretty decent accomplishment. One person, though, I mean that's pretty outstanding. So clearly she has the power to produce. So definitely with
Yeah,
a team that likes to put up a lot of runs, wouldn't necessarily be surprised if at some point she makes her way into the lineup come spring.
yeah. Um, I mean, like a USA All American as an eighth grader for varsity softball. That's crazy.
That's impressive.
It is. It's just it's just another level of talent. Like you have Division 1 softball players, and then you have the best Division 1 softball players, and I feel like she's probably going to fall into that category. Um, with those kind of power numbers, I mean, you're thinking like a Taryn Kern type
Yeah.
impact. Maybe not so much like starting as a freshman and being that big of an impact for a really really good Florida State team, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Definitely has the potential. All right, we're going to move on to Duke, our team that finished second in the ACC. They finished their season 48-12. Not too shabby. Team wise, team stat wise, still had a higher batting average than Florida State. Batted 318 on the year. Not bad at all for a team batting average. But if you compare pitching wise, again, Florida State had an ace in Catherine Sandercock, but they had a lower ERA. Duke put up a 2.11 ERA, 2.11. Holding
Yeah,
teams to 2 runs though is not horrible, but we need
I
less
mean
than a 2.
that's how you win 48 games, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
holding teams to 2 runs, yeah, you're going to win a lot of games. But when you're talking about being an upper echelon team and competing with those top tier teams, the Florida States, the Oklahoma States, the give me another one. I'm drawing a blank.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. There you go. Yeah, trying to hold them to 2 runs is that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, as a pitching staff, but you gotta have under a 2 to be to really be able to compete with those top tier teams.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you know, again, under two is ideal. Two ish isn't horrible. I mean, their offense was still producing for them. Put up 351 runs. Can't can't really complain there. That's not bad. And they got on base almost 40% of the time. So offense was out there doing a pretty decent job. Pitchers still kind of held it down, but again, gotta maintain, gotta give yourself a chance. And I think too, what could have been, what could improve this year for Duke, um, is their fielding. They only fielded at a 961.
yeah,
So
that ain't gonna cut it especially behind a pitching staff that's not your top tier. I mean, it's 961 by comparison to Florida State at a 969. Not a huge difference, but when you're talking about a Florida State pitching staff that's at a 165 ERA with a 969 fielding percentage to a Duke 2.11 ERA with a 961 fielding percentage, is just that's not a combination for success when you're going up against these top tier programs. Um, but yeah, hopefully they can clean up that defense a little bit this year. Maybe get their pitching numbers down a little bit more. I mean, again, a 2.11 is not anything to be upset about. That's a really good pitching staff. Um, but when you're going up against the Florida State and Oklahoma, like it's not that you can't compete because you can, but you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to play your A++ game.
every time you play them.
Yeah, if you're gonna be in the ball game. But what about key losses? Who you have for key losses for Duke?
I have Deja Davis.
Same player that I have. You just have Deja Davis. You have more than Deja Davis.
No, I tried to just stick to just one key loss.
Yeah,
So yeah, I rolled with not Deja Davis, infielder for him. I mean, she was
really
pretty
big
solid for
producer
him
for
all
them.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, really big producer for them last year. 372, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, 44 runs scored, a 456 on base percentage, a little bit of a base threat or a base stealing threat at 8 stolen bases. Nothing too serious there, but I mean, she was a really solid producer for them. So they're definitely gonna miss her in the lineup this year. With I think she have the highest batting average on the team last year.
She did not. She was second, it looks like.
Okay,
Yeah,
behind who?
she was I'm not 100% sure how to say it. I think it's Donna. I don't know. Donna. Not 100% sure. Jennings is the last name.
Yeah, Deanna Jennings. Deanna
Yeah.
Jennings. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, she really held it down for him.
Yeah. Luckily for the Duke Blue Devils, Deanna Jennings is coming back. She'll be starting center field for them again this year after having an incredible year. I don't know why I forgot this, but she finished the year batting 462, scored 48 times, had 21 stolen bases, and almost got on base 50% of the time. Oh, and by the way, she was an NFCA Freshman of the Year finalist. So
Love to see that she's returning for the Blue Devils.
yeah, that's going to be really good for them. Super exciting player to watch. Keep an eye on. I'd imagine she's going to put up similar numbers again this year. So definitely keep an eye out for Deanna Jennings. Who else you got? Key returners.
Let's see. Key returner, I got Amina Vega. You got Amina Vega
Okay.
on your list?
I do have her on my list. Dropping a couple yak balls last year, a couple bombskis.
Yep. Couple. 13? I wish that was the case for a lot of people. Yeah, I dropped a couple this year. Don't worry about it. Only 17 bombs, but just a couple. Light work.
Yeah. Yeah. 50 RBIs. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And 40 runs scored. So I mean, just between those two numbers, she's responsible for 100, almost 190 of the Duke Blue Devils runs.
Which is almost I don't know what, a third, close to, maybe a
Yeah,
little less than a third.
yeah, it's close to a third of their total runs scored, which I mean, that's production if I've
That
ever seen it.
that it
Um,
is.
I have some other players on my list too, but I really want to hit on Anna Gold, their starting third baseman from last year, or Anna Gold,
Anna?
Anna Gold, Anna Gold. I think we heard that in the interview. They called her Anna. Um, yeah, she batted 313 last year, put up 19 jacks.
Just a
19.
couple.
Yeah. You want to talk about? So we were talking about Jasani Beecham earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and how she put up 19 jacks in a high school season. This is 19 jacks in Division One softball in one of the toughest conferences in the nation. Granted, I'm sure some of these came during out of conference games, but they're not playing scrubs out of conference.
No,
Like,
they're still racking in some tough competition.
yeah, but I mean, even if they are playing mediocre Division One teams, they're still Division One ball players, not okay high school ball players.
Right.
So yeah, 19 bombs by Anna Gold, 56 RBIs and 53 runs scored.
So there's
That's
our other
100.
third.
Yeah, yeah, 109 runs that Anna Gold is responsible for. She'll be coming back and starting third base for them, I'm sure. Uh, you got one more?
I don't think I put another person on here.
No, you're crazy. Cassidy Kerr, their starting pitcher, returns. She was 18-3 with a 1.65 ERA and 159 strikeouts through 127 and third innings. Opponents only batting 146.
Yeah, got to be glad she's coming back for sure.
Yeah, if you're a hitter stepping into the box against Cassidy Kerr, you basically have no shot. Now, where they struggle, this is where Duke's team, their pitching staff ERA suffers, is in the rest of the pitching staff behind Cassidy Curd. Once you get past Cassidy Curd, it drops off it's a I don't want to say it's a huge drop off, but it's a fairly steep drop. You go to their number 2, Jada Wright, she's got a 2.5, and then Claire Davidson had a 3.6. So that's where you get that huge that not huge, but that difference in ERA between Florida State and Duke that really put Florida State over the top. But I mean, if Cassidy Curd can hang in there and throw more innings for them this year, I would not be surprised to see Duke beat Florida State, especially with Florida State losing Catherine Sandercock.
Yeah, Florida State's got some pitchers that definitely got to step up a little bit. And Duke's got a pitcher that needs to hold down her fort again.
Yeah, they really need Cassidy Curd to step up and just be more of a workhorse
and take innings away from the other pitchers on the pitching staff because she's just better. I mean,
Numbers don't lie.
right. Like, she didn't throw as many innings as Jayla Wright did. She threw
It's like
about
a difference of
five.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, like 5 innings less. But Cassie Curd is better. Her numbers are better. Her ERA is better. Her strikeouts per inning are better. Her opponent batting average is better. The record she was able to produce was better. So, I mean, if I'm the Duke coaching staff, I'm looking at these numbers and I'm saying, okay, we gotta give Cassidy more innings. We gotta take innings away from Jayla Wright. We gotta give more innings to Cassidy. Cassidy's got to be our workhorse this year.
Yeah. And hopefully,
Uh,
though, that'll light a fire under Jayla Wright. Jayla Wright kicks into high gear, and they got 2 that are going 1.6, 1.7 ERA. Then they're
yeah,
super solid.
yeah, that'll put them over the top for sure. Yeah, Duke's a good ball club. I don't expect anything less from them, but if Cassidy Curd can carry the load more and then bring Jayla Wright up a little bit more in her competitive abilities, um, yeah, I would not be surprised to see them win the ACC. Duke goes out and they bring in 2 girls from the transfer portal. Uh, Again, they're not really anybody, just like Florida State. I don't really see them getting the opportunity to play a whole lot. They got grad transfer from Pitt in Danny Drogmuller. I think that's how you say her name. Um, not the best record, not the best career record at Pitt. Granted, Pitt is at the bottom of the ACC, so I'm sure she didn't get as much run support as what she needed. But when your ERA is almost a 4, it's hard for your offense to win you ball games.
Right.
You can't give up 4 runs a game and expect your offense to score 4 runs every single game. And then they brought in another outfielder from Boston College, and Aaliyah Terrell. Again, didn't put up great numbers as a freshman. I don't I I don't necessarily see her getting a whole lot of playing time, but I don't know. We'll see how that goes. They, I mean, Deja Davis losing Deja Davis was obviously a huge hit for them, but I don't know that these transfers are gonna, or specifically Aaliyah Terrell, I don't know that she's going to be the answer for that. They only bring in 2 freshmen.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking to me. Not sure.
Yeah.
And they bring in 1 outfield, 1 infield.
Yeah, they only brought in 2 freshmen and two transfers. I don't I just I don't know. I don't know what to make of this with especially with the freshmen not being like they're not top tier freshmen. Obviously, I'm sure that they're great ball players. They're going to a Division I school. They have to be talented enough to play on that big of a stage. But I mean, I could see both of them getting PT because their Duke's outfield depth is not it's not super deep, and neither is their infield depth. But I don't know. You got Amaya Burgess, who's the outfielder, and Lynn Lee, who's their freshman infielder. Um, I mean, it seems like they're both solid,
Yeah, I
but
think between the 2 of them, I think Amaya, is that what we decided? Amaya Burgess?
Amaya Burgess, yeah.
I think if I'm the coaching staff, And I don't see these two play obviously, but if I'm the coaching staff, off the bat, I'm putting outfielder above the infielder because because in the box wise, she can do it all. Hit, slap, bunt. She's got speed, which I mean, that's not to
Yeah, I
say
mean,
that she's gonna really produce in the
yeah,
ACC, but
yeah, but I'm with you because I mean, speed equals pressure, pressure equals errors.
yeah, even put her
Like
in as a pinch runner, like
right, right, yeah. If you have speed, you put pressure on the defense. Anytime you put the ball in play or anytime you're on the bases, as like a pinch runner, like you said, and you just force the defense to work faster and become uncomfortable, and that's when errors happen. And if when errors happen, you run the bases for days and you score a lot. So yeah, I agree. I would see. I, I don't expect these freshmen to get a lot of playing time just because I don't know a lot about them. However, I'm with you in that Amaya Burgess. If I'm the coach, I would look to have Amaya Burgess ready to go at all times because she's fast.
yeah.
So that about wraps up Duke. Honestly, not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, they got plenty of girls returning. They lose one key bat, but they should they should be fine moving into the year. They're just going to have to get their pitching staff to come along and really hold it down. Um, we'll move into Clemson. What do you got for their team stats for Clemson?
Let's see. Team stats. I've got strong season, obviously 49-12 record. Strong season. 313 batting average. Pretty solid. More impressive is on base percentage at 409. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty good. 980 fielding percentage, which is higher than Duke, higher than Florida State. And a 1.59 ERA. So the lowest of the three that we've talked about, Clemson, Duke, and Florida State, as a team ERA, 1.59.
Which is this is surprising to me because Clemson finished third.
Yeah.
Like as we talked about before, or as I mentioned before earlier, um, like Clemson finishing. I said that these three schools finishing in the top three in the conference was not surprising to me. I think I may have cut myself off. I don't remember, but Clemson finishing third is surprising to me. I definitely expected them to finish in the top two, and I thought for sure that they had a great opportunity to beat Florida State.
Definitely. I think I'm with you in that Clemson should have finished second to me. I'm not necessarily surprised that they got third. A little bit, I guess, but
I just think
mean,
they're a better team than Duke. Like Duke
I
is
think they're a
really
better
good.
team
Don't
than
get
Florida State at some time, at some point.
yeah, I do
Sometimes.
too. And again, Duke is a really good team. I don't want to take any credit away from them. They're really really good. I just think Clemson is just better.
Yeah, Clemson's
And
super solid. And
I
not to mention
I
that I mean, their numbers are all better than, not all, I guess. Their batting average is lower than Duke's. But other than that, their four key stats as a team are better than the first and second finishers in the conference.
yeah, but where I would give Florida State the edge is Florida State's strikeout to walk ratio is better.
Yeah.
Clemson struck out more than they walked, and Florida State stole more bases and put themselves in in positions to score more often, which is why they scored more runs on the year than Clemson did. I think Clemson relied a little bit too heavily on the long ball.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to put pressure on the defense, like what we just talked about with Amani Burgess. But again, like Clemson's just super talented. They're super talented. They're way too talented to be finishing third in the conference, in my opinion. And my opinion doesn't mean much, but
Yeah,
I would expect Clemson to finish at least second in the ACC. Anyway, with that being said, I have a couple key losses written down in Reedy Davenport, their starting third baseman last year, and Caroline Jacobson, their right fielder last year. Again, Caroline Jacobson was definitely the most productive of the two. Batting 309, hitting 12 bombs, driving in 50 and scoring 40. Again, another player that accounts for almost a third of the team's runs scored. And she had a 985 fielding percentage. She only made one error last year at in right field.
Could you imagine like going through? Okay, I don't know when her error occurred, but going through and knowing, say it's like 80% of the way through season, knowing that you haven't committed an error every time the ball's coming to me. One side of my brain is telling me, "Oh, you got this. Like you've got 1,000 fielding percentage right now." The other side saying, "Hey, you really can't mess this up. You got 1,000 fielding percentage." Like the pressure I would put on myself, because at that point I don't even have an error yet. My coaches and my other teammates probably aren't concerned when the balls hits me. Me, on the other hand, brown in my trousers.
Wowzers. Yeah, but I mean, I think that's where you and Caroline Jacobson differ, you know?
Yeah. That, and she played D1 softball and I didn't. So
right. I mean, I know my freshman year of college, like when I got in right field, because I didn't get a lot of opportunities to play right field, but when I got in right field, your boy was nervous, and I booted some balls that I have never booted in my life. So yeah, to only make one error all year, that's pretty solid. I would say losing Caroline Jacobson is a huge hit for them. However, Clemson has a plethora of key returners. We'll save the best for last. We'll start out with someone on my list in Mackenzie Clark, their starting center fielder. She batted 335 last year, hit 13 home runs, drove in 35, scored 56 times. That's a significant chunk of runs that she's responsible for. Also had a 443 on base percentage with 32 walks and 11 stolen bases.
Yeah, I mean, absolute offensive threat. Not to mention defensively, we're going
Goose egg,
0 errors.
Goose egg, 1,000 fielding percentage. Gotta love it in center field.
You got to know that if you're hitting the ball to right center, you're the opposing team hitting the ball to right center against Clemson. Like, tough luck, bud. It's not getting down.
Yeah, it's got to be dead middle of the gap.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a missile. But yeah, Mackenzie Clark, definitely going to be a staple in the lineup this year. She'll just a huge producer for them. I would expect to see her continue to produce for them at the plate and just lock down center field. No fly zone out there.
Yeah,
no fly zone. Who you got next?
I got a tough last name here. Aaliyah Logaleo. I have no idea how to say that last name.
Lagaleo. I'm not sure. Aaliyah, if you hear this and we've jacked your name up, let us know because we'd love to get you on here and correct it.
Yeah. I've got
starting shortstop last year.
Yeah. Solid infielder for them. Started all of their games. Offensively, could have done a little bit better with the bat. Only batted .296, but again, almost 300. Not terrible. 381 on base percentage.
Still dropped 10 bombs.
Yeah, I was about to say she still had 8 doubles and 10 home runs.
Yeah.
Knocked in 51 RBI. So
yeah.
Still producing, which is why that batting average isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world.
Right.
Then she turns around, swipes 11 stolen bases out of 11 tries. So you can't really be too upset.
Yeah, I mean, she's cashing in runs when she needs to cash in run.
Right. She did. You got another one?
Yeah, of course. It's Clemson. Come on, dog.
I also have another one. But I was just going to say, defensively, I would like to point out she did make it onto SportsCenter's top 10 with a pretty sick diving catch. Catches a ball going backwards, like on the downslope of the ball, just snags a sucker midair. Pretty cool catch. So I just want to give credit to SportsCenter there. It's a place you love to see.
To SportsCenter
to her Aaliyah? For getting on to SportsCenter. So
yeah, come on now.
And to SportsCenter for showing it.
Let's direct credit where it's due.
That goes to Aaliyah. You're right.
Yeah. All right. Who's your other one?
I bet we could say it on 3. You got one more?
I have one before that one.
Oh, okay, I don't have one. You go first.
Okay, so the other one I have before we get to the main event of Clemson's returners, Miley. It's either Miley or Millie. I'm not 100% sure. I want to say, obviously, my first reaction was to say Miley, but I think it's Millie. I'm pretty sure it's Millie. Millie Thompson. They're number 2 in the circle. She was 14-3 last year with a 1.82 ERA. Not a huge strikeout pitcher. She throws hard, but she's not gassing folks up left and right. Her out pitch is her changeup. Her changeup is phenomenal. Like just floats right in there. It's so slow. It's so slow, but it's so good. She throws it at the right time every time. And she's throwing hitters' timing off and getting pop-ups and rollovers. And I mean, opponent's batting average was not the best. It's 254, but she's able to let the hitters hit it because she's got a stellar defense behind her. And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with Duke, in that, like, if you're not going to have lights out pitching, you got to have lights out defense.
For sure.
And specifically with Millie Thompson, Clemson has that combination where you got a pitcher who knows how to pitch, knows how to get outs, pitches to contact, and lets her defense make plays behind her. And with full confidence that they're going to make plays behind her. I mean, how could you not with players like Aaliyah Logalo, and Mackenzie Clark. So, all right. So, best for last here with the key returners. Got USA Softball Player of the Year, Valerie Cagle.
Yeah, I mean, what accolade did she not collect, honestly? USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year, Rawlings Gold Glove.
I'll tell you what she didn't get, what accolade she didn't get last year.
Don't say national champion.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say that. That's rude.
I thought that's what you were gonna say. I got real concerned.
No, no, I was going to say she did not win a Nobel Peace Prize. That's about the only thing she didn't win last year.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, racking in award on top of award on top of award, as she should.
oh yeah, yeah, just a freak athlete. Um, Pitcher first baseman, she does it all. 25-8 in the circle last year with a 1.56 ERA and 188 strikeouts through 193 innings. Held opponents to a whopping 182 batting average. Then on the flip side, she steps up to the plate and hits 469 with 19 jacks.
On base over 50% of the time.
Yeah, just she's on base almost 50% of the time. And or no, she's on base over 50% of the time, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's getting a hit almost 50% of the time.
It's just numbers that like you look at and you're like, oh, this is a video game. This
Yeah,
video game character.
this is a cheat code. This is a cheat code. And Valerie Kegel's a video game player. She's not real. It was AI. She was made up. Every game that she played in last year was fake. And these stats and accolades went to a robot. But no, in all seriousness, like Valerie Kegel's, she's the real deal. Us old heads would call her the truth. You no
Again, repeat yourself. You said us old heads. So
old
you.
Heads. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Valerie Kegel's the truth. I don't know what else you want from me. She's the truth. She's the real deal.
Numbers that just you look at them and they just blow your mind. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. As much as I would like to just continue to talk about Valerie Kegel and we could sit here and find all kinds of highlights on her, we need to move on because Clemson hit up the transfer portal. They bring in two players, two pretty solid players actually.
Mm-hmm.
They bring in Alex Brown, who's a utility player from North Carolina. So they're conference player stealers, and I don't blame them because Clemson's here to win. So they bring in Alex Brown. She's a junior from UNC. Started shortstop for the Tar Heels. On Clemson's website, on their roster, she's listed as a utility player. But I imagine she's going to give Lagaleo a run for her money at shortstop because she was a pretty solid fielder for the Tar Heels. Not great, not the best, but where she lacks in defensive skills, she held up her end of the bargain at the plate, batting .399, hitting 4 home runs, and on a team that struggled to score, drove in 20 RBIs and scored 32 times. So,
definitely holding up her end of the bargain.
Yeah, on a team, like I said, on a team that struggled to score, Alex Brown was a huge production piece for the Tar Heels, and I'd expect her to do the same for Clemson. I don't imagine she's going to be sitting on the bench. They're going to find somewhere for her to play.
Oh, for sure. I definitely agree.
Who else? Who's the next one?
Transfer from Auburn, Lindsay Garcia. She's an infielder. Played in
infield or 61.
Outfield? I have infield. You have outfield?
I have infield. I have both. I have her listed as both, and I know last year for Auburn she got a good chunk of change of playing time in left field.
I was about to say, I know she played left in Auburn.
Yeah.
Maybe did Clemson have her listed as? I don't know. I don't know why I have infield written down.
I have her listed as both. I have her. She was on the roster listed as infield outfield,
Oh, I just forgot the other
but
half.
possibly, or maybe I just threw outfield on there because I knew she played outfield at Auburn.
Nonetheless,
I don't know. Yeah, either way.
I mean, she still, played for Auburn, put up a 280 batting average, 10 home runs, 9 doubles, 361 on base percentage. Not the strongest, also in a very difficult conference coming from the SEC. Auburn was a top team in the SEC last year too. So she's obviously doing something right.
Yeah.
So
drove in 43, scored 30 runs.
Yeah.
It was solid producer at the plate. And not that Clemson was severely lacking in the production, in the offensive production, but I mean, when you got somebody who's looking to come your way, who's a pretty decent producer, you got to take them. In this day and age with the transfer portal, you got to take them. And Lindsey Garcia she's gonna be that for the Clemson Tigers. From one tiger to another. She's she's gonna produce for Clemson. I don't know what playing time looks like for her, but I mean they just lost one really good outfielder. I wouldn't be surprised if she finds some time out there. All right, so we move on to the freshman for Clemson. Who do you got? Who's your first freshman?
I've got Olivia Duncan, a pitcher coming from Georgia. She was the 2023 Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year. Very well earned. She made a 1.61 ERA. She is a lefty.
She's a lefty.
Love a good lefty pitcher, that's for sure. As a lefty hitter, though.
I hated hitting off a lefty.
Well, what can you do?
Also got this action, the over-the-top action, not this one.
That's right. Olivia Duncan, 1.61 ERA in 87 innings, 13-1 record. I like the stat of 6 walks, 103 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's a stellar strikeout to walk ratio.
She's just out there just saucing people up left and right. Oh, love it.
Throwing folks chairs.
You get a strikeout. You get a strikeout. You get a strikeout.
Yeah, the Oprah of strikeouts.
Yeah, she did hit a little bit. Again, I don't necessarily see her being a two-way player though.
No, yeah. She's gonna pitch. Her offensive production stats are nowhere near the same as some of the freshmen that we talked about earlier. Yeah, she's gonna be in the circle. I don't necessarily think that she's going to get a lot of time in the circle because they have Valerie Cagle and Millie Thompson returning. But she's definitely going to be a good addition. I would expect to see her get some bullpen innings, some midweek games.
Definitely get a year to develop too.
Yeah, just to get that experience and be able to really help the Tigers out long term. I got one more, Julia Noller. She's listed as an infielder pitcher coming from Florida. She won the 2021 Florida Gatorade Player of the Year, has a career batting average of 605 with, guess how many home runs?
Career,
high school career. Guess how many home runs?
Is it in the 20s?
Just guess, bro. Throw a number out there.
22.
33.
Oh, okay.
33 dingers throughout her high school career. Only Cade in 4 years only struck out 17 times.
That's insane.
That's impressive. That's super impressive. Like, it's one thing to hit 605, but you can hit 605 and still strike out a lot.
So then you
Yeah.
wonder, is she just freaking crushing the ball, hitting right at people at that point? Because she's obviously touching the ball almost every time. Or
Yeah.
getting walked, I guess. But
Yeah.
that's
a hitter.
yeah. Yeah.
But let's also keep in mind that the player we talked about earlier for Florida State, who batted almost 700, you wanted to throw into a PO role right off the bat.
Not right
here,
off the
dude.
bat. There was a question mark at the end.
Oh, come on.
Big ol' size 72 font question mark.
Yeah. All right. So Julia Noller, again, she's listed as an infielder and a pitcher. Not nearly the same pitching wise as Olivia Duncan, but still pretty solid. Her career rec was 24-10. Had a 2.17 ERA and 293 strikeouts through 284 innings. So again, not terrible. I mean, I'm sure she won her high school a lot of games. I would expect to see her get a handful of innings, and Clemson's coaching staff just kind of see how it goes.
I would expect
And,
her to get a few more handful of innings with the old Battle-Rooney in her hands.
oh yeah, for
So.
sure. Yeah, like I said, I think she'll probably get 10, 15 innings this coming year just to see what happens. Maybe not even that many. And if she does well, maybe she gets more innings throughout the year. But I would say they're solely relying on her to play infield and just continue to rake.
Yeah. This is 33 home runs. Come on.
All right, we'll move into some other notable players throughout the ACC. First off, you got Daisy Hess out of Louisville. She batted 335 last year, hit 4 jacks, drove in 31, and scored 32 times. That's an impressive stat line. It's not like overly impressive, but it's a solid production, a solid line of production from Daisy Hess. The stat that really got me and really won me over to put her on this list. This girl stole 24 bases last year.
Lightning McQueen.
Yeah,
Ciao.
she led Louisville's team last year with 24 stolen bases. Also had 29 walks and a 442 on base percentage. So I'd imagine that she's going to continue to just put pressure on defenses and make them mess up. Really wish Louisville's a good team. I really wish Daisy Hess was on another team. But nevertheless, Daisy Hess, look out for her to do some great things this year. Her teammate Bailey Richardson just transferred from Georgia State. She batted 314 last year with the most RBIs on her team at 33. Georgia State struggled to score, which probably a good reason as to why Bailey Richardson transferred, because Georgia State only scored 183 runs last year. So like I said,
That's
probably a good reason. That's probably a reason why Bailey Richardson looked to transfer at the end of the year. She's looking to win. I would imagine that she's going to get a decent amount of playing time and try to push the Cardinals over the top to be at the upper echelon of the ACC. Got Abby Settlemeyer from UNC. She batted 351 last year with 9 home runs, 35 RBIs, 25 runs scored. She had a 420 on base percentage, 18 walks, and 10 stolen bases. I can't remember what position Abby Settlemeyer played. Nevertheless, while Ashley looks that up, look for Abby Settlemeyer to lead the Tar Heels. Oh my goodness, my mic.
while he fixes his little technical difficulty, it looks like Abby Settlemeyer played shortstop for the Tar Heels last year. Shortstop was where she was at.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure. Yeah, so look for Abby Settlemeyer to lead that offense coming this year. Got a Cavalier on the list and Eden Bigham. Eden Bigham was Eden Bigham was one of their pitchers last year. She went 13-6 in the circle with a 2.52 ERA through 111 innings. She also had 115 strikeouts. This was all as a freshman.
Go back.
So
You said she threw how many innings?
111.
And had how many strikeouts?
115.
More strikeouts.
Yeah, more strikeouts than innings pitched.
Okay.
As a freshman.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I would look for her to take on a little bit bigger role this year, throw a little bit more innings. I don't think she didn't throw the most innings on her team last year, but again, as a freshman, you don't really expect that. I would look for her to build upon last year's numbers and just, try to carry the load a little bit more, get some more innings. Again, another girl on a team that struggles to score. So that 13-6 record isn't really indicative of what she can do necessarily. But anyway, I would look for her to do some pretty good things this year for the Cavaliers. Last on our other notable players list, we have Karina Gaskins out of Notre Dame. Karina Gaskins batted 348 last year, dropped 15 jacks, 46 RBIs, and 37 runs scored. She also almost got on base 50% of the time with a 497 on base percentage. She had 40 walks.
That's what I'm talking about.
To just 22 strikeouts. That's a 20-11 strikeout ratio, walk to strikeout ratio. She's a career 984 fielder with just 12 errors through 3 seasons of work. So look for Karina Gaskins to lead the Irish offensively and defensively this year as a senior. All right, now we're going to move into our sleeper picks for the ACC to win the ACC. You want to go 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, let's do 3, 2, 1.
All right, 3.
Wait. Say it after 1.
Well, yeah, I have to get 1 out of my mouth, and then
I'm just making sure.
I can't say my pick and say 1 at the same time.
It'd be a pretty cool magic trick if you could, like a ventriloquist.
Oh man. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Notre
Virginia
Dame.
Tech. Ooh, okay. Tell me why you got Notre Dame.
I like Notre Dame. They finished, I'm pretty sure, middle of the pack. Get their at-large bid to regionals. So obviously, not too shabby. They finished their year 30-19 and won. Stupid tie. So dumb. Whatever. But as a team, they hit 315. They got on base almost 40% of the time, had an on base percentage of 392. Where they struggled was defense. Their pitchers 3.39 ERA and a 958 fielding percentage. I think offensively their numbers were there. Defensively, they slacked a little bit. Lacked a little bit. But they did add a couple of pitchers to their staff for this season, for the 2024 season. One of whom is a pitcher coming from Princeton, and she was the Ivy League Pitcher of the Year last year for the second straight year in a row. So thinking maybe she can do some hard work for them, bring the ERA down, boost the defense. And I'm thinking maybe they finish a little higher up, give some people a run for their money. Maybe do a little better conference play. They were 11-12 and won, but mainly 11-12. So I'd like to see at least a flip of 12-11 or 12-11.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I could see Virginia or Notre Dame being a little bit better this year with their additions. However, Virginia Tech had a better year last year with 39 wins and only 20 losses. They went 14-10 in conference. We were talking off air earlier about some of our notable players, and you mentioned Emma Ritter. Well, I didn't mention her and other notable players because I was going to talk about her here. She is most definitely one to look out for, along with Addie Green and Bree Peck. All three of them are back this year for Virginia Tech after combining for 44 home runs, 122 RBIs, and 130 runs scored. The three of them all batted over 300 last year. As a team, Virginia Tech batted 300. They scored 350 runs, so they could afford to figure out how to get into scoring position and cash in on some more runs this year. But as a team, keep in mind 44 home runs from those three players. As a team, they hit 100 home runs last year.
So the three accounted for almost half of their homers.
Correct. So where they struggled last year was in the circle. It wasn't necessarily like a huge struggle, but they were not at a sub 2 ERA or anything. I actually think they finished with like a 3-something. But both of their workhorses in the circle, and Emma Limley and Molly Jacobson, are back. A player to really look to make an impact as soon as she steps on campus, though, for Virginia Tech would be freshman left-handed pitcher Emma Mazzaroni. I'm not really sure.
Maserati.
It's not Maserati. It's not Maserati Marv. But I would look for her to make an impact in the circle after finishing her senior year with a .89 ERA and 280 strikeouts. I like Virginia Tech. Most of their offensive production is back. They upset some people in the ACC tournament last year. I think that if a team is getting, I wouldn't necessarily say Virginia Tech is getting slept on after having that type of offensive year. But I definitely don't think that anybody's expecting them to win the ACC, even though they probably should.
They could, for sure.
Like you're dropping 100 home runs as a team, and you have 50% of those home runs coming back.
Now, I just want to state 44 home runs from 3 players for Virginia Tech, one of which was mentioned, which was in my notes for other notable players. I do want to point out I had one there for you. But 44 home runs nonetheless from 3 players. Notre Dame had 57 as a team. You got to wonder if Notre Dame finds a way to turn up their offense to almost catch up to the power of the others. That's why you pick the sleeper. You got to watch them just come out and just
I think they could catch up to like a Duke from a power standpoint. I think maybe they could catch up to Florida State from a power standpoint. They ain't catching up to Tech, baby. They not catching the Hokies. Ain't happening, Captain. That's why I choose the Hokies as my sleeper. Unfortunately for the Hokies and for Notre Dame, I think we can both agree that we think the ACC is going to turn out a little bit differently than either one of our sleepers winning. Who do you got for your ACC winner?
I got back-to-back, maybe back-to-back.
Oh, no.
I'm going Florida State.
Oh, no, I don't like it.
I'm going Florida State.
I'm going Clemson on this one. You lose Catherine Sandercock, and McKenna Reed is really good, and I think she's going to have a fantastic year. I don't think she's going to put up the same numbers that she put up last year because she didn't throw near as many innings as Catherine Sandercock did. I think having to bear that workload, we're going to see a little bit different McKenna Reed.
Going to be a change of pace for her, for sure.
Yeah, I think Valerie Cagle and Millie Thompson, that combination, and then you add in Olivia Duncan, who's probably going to get some innings. I like Clemson here.
Do you know how actually it'd be? I'd be okay with Clemson winning. I really would, because I think it would be so cool for a program that started in 2020 to just come out and be like, yeah, we don't even need 5 years to be awesome. We're gonna go out here, we're gonna be great every single year we've been a program.
They didn't need a year to be awesome.
No.
They were awesome from the start.
Have they had 40 plus wins each year that they've been a program? I'm like 70% sure that they have.
That I'm not sure, but I know they've been good since they started the program. But yeah, I really just want Clemson to win, so I could say I was right. So,
well, you should want Clemson to win because you like Clemson, not because you just want to rub it in my face.
I don't not like Clemson.
I'm waiting on a but. Was there a but in that statement?
No.
Okay.
I
well,
like Clemson.
I went and looked. Good. I went and looked to check my memory here. The first year they were a program, which was 2019 and 2020, they only played like 20-something games. They were 19-8 overall or something like that. Then after that, they took off and were playing full season games, and they've been 40 plus wins
every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
surely have.
Clemson to win it all, baby.
That'd be pretty sick.
Not necessarily the World Series. I don't know about that one, but the
so
ACC.
Clemson to win part of it all.
Yeah. Clemson to win a little bit.
A wee bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like Clemson to win the ACC. You like Florida State to win the ACC. Again, I think that's boring. That's a stupid pick. It's not a stupid pick. It's a pretty smart pick, but
it's a smart pick, but it's stupid because I picked it. That's what you were going for, right?
No. It's stupid because it's boring. Nobody wants this. I don't want to watch Florida State win again, just like I don't want to watch Oklahoma win again.
Well, I don't have to watch Florida State win all of it. I don't have to watch Florida State win a national championship. I don't have to watch it win the ACC championship. I'm just saying there's a good chance that they're putting themselves right back in the ACC championship game. There's a good chance they're going to dogfight it with whoever their opponent. Okay.
Clemson.
Whatever.
All right. Well, that wraps up this episode. Ashley, where can they check us out?
Check us out on social media. We got TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
Chill.
And Twitter.
X-Core. All right. And that'll do it for this episode of Yellaball.